Here it is from Heliofont, I Pet Goat 2, and then we'll be back with the maker to decode its secrets. simply breathtaking. That is I, Pet Goat 2. And the gentleman that made it is going to be joining us here via video Skype in just a moment. His production house is Heliofont, and you can go to heliofont.com. He's worked on many movies like The Spirits Within, Final Fantasy. He worked on The Doctor, that I think was the best animated in there. In fact, Rob Dew was pointing that out before we went on air here. And he is also someone who worked on Gollum for the Lord of the Rings film. Just an amazing artist, and spent years putting together what you just saw. I mean, the archetypal images in it, a lot of people have projected onto it their own thoughts, their own ideas, and they say the most powerful art out there is basically designed to do that. Some people have said it's satanic and it's programming us. That reminded me of when I consulted on A Scanner Darkly for Richard Linklater, and Winona Ryder, Keanu Reeves, Woody Harrelson, a bunch of others are in it. I'm also in the film. And it's got Illuminati imagery all over it. But it was there to expose the Illuminati. I mean, it's hidden in plain view that, hey, the bad guys are the Illuminati or whatever. And people are saying, oh, my gosh, it's subliminal Illuminati. No, subliminal means it's too quick for the conscious mind to see it. Now, Louis Lefebvre is joining us now from a city north of Montreal. He's a 3D animator, director, and entrepreneur, and he joins us. Very excited to have him on. Again, you just saw the piece. We're going to analyze it here. Well, Louis, do you need to be burned at the stake? Is this actually satanic programming? No, I mean, why did you produce this? What is the message that you see in it?
Well, first, thank you for having me, Alex.
Thank you.
I think all symbolism can be invested with whatever meaning you want to project on them. Symbolism is a language. So the elite obviously use it in a kind of degrading way to degrade the human spirit. And they've kind of co-opted all symbolism. It's like, regular humans don't have much knowledge of symbolism, and so they don't understand it. They can't really decipher it. And we've been led to believe that all symbolism is just negative and evil, but it's not. It's just whatever we want to put into it, whatever meaning we want to put into it. And in my film, the thing that people get stuck on the most, I've noticed, is the triangle on the Christ figure, and also the eye on the Christ figure on his forehead. And for me, the eye placed on the forehead represents inner vision. So it's clear spiritual insight. For the Illuminati, or the elite, when it's used, for example, on the dollar bill, it represents a total control freak surveillance society. And it's the same thing. That's what the pyramid means. It's every layer manipulating the layer below it, and giving the people at the apex incredible control. And the eye is about being everywhere and just seeing everything. So it's about total surveillance. Whereas what I tried to redress those symbols. And so I have it on the Christ figure. The triangle means God, it means the Trinity. And the eye means spiritual insight. And then you have the crown of thorns. To me, what that represents, the crown of barbed wires, is the way we are manipulated, and it's kind of like a war on consciousness. So you'll notice that the crown is between the triangle and the eye. So it's kind of like a barrier between my spiritual insight and the divine. And at the end, that crown disappears. So it's like, oh, finally, I have clear spiritual insight. I can see my Creator.
Well, that's what I got, and I've never talked to you until now. We set you up for the show, and we talked a few minutes before we went live here, but I've never talked to you about what your incredible piece of art means. I mean, it's right up there with Fantasia, the original. But looking at it, I see it as a person's journey with Christ through life, seeing all the different evil, seeing the different, the sex trade, the torture, the war machines, the devil snake system that looks out of the television, preying on people, programming them, and then the individual who's traveling, basically with Christ, symbolizing that flame that you've got the Holy Spirit. That's not really Jesus. That's the individual, with the spiritual connection to Christ, comes out into a wider universe, and all of that was just Plato's cave behind him. And of course, there's much deeper symbolism than that. But is that a accurate representation?
Absolutely. Absolutely. He represents a flame, and so it's a fire. And I don't know if you recall that, John the Baptist had baptized in water, and he said of Jesus that Jesus would baptize in fire. So I don't see that it's inappropriate.
It doesn't matter. Anything powerful is going to freak people out that go to these globalist program churches who are taught to love world government, and they worship 6-foot icicle preachers. So, of course, they're upset by it because it's moving, it's powerful. What gave you the idea? Because I've never talked to you before, but I feel like I know you just watching this. I mean, you've got Bush in there, animated. You even captured kind of his demonic spirit, with the kids acting like he doesn't know what's coming. It cuts to Obama, and then he suddenly looks into the universe, symbolized by, creation with the flower. Am I right there? Tell us about yourself. Tell us about your view, your awakening.
Wow, that's a lot of stuff. But basically, the film came to me in a place of suffering. So it was all the things that I had lived personally, and the materialism that I had experienced in different realms in my life that I had also contributed to. So not just put on me, but also, I had gotten involved in it as well. So it was about that place of suffering. And it just felt like this film for me was a sort of lifeline, a way for me to go into my own fears. And I think that that's what I've seen in people, is it brings up a lot of stuff. It just kind of stops the mental programming, and then just kind of goes right viscerally, and people have a hard time with it. And I can understand, because I went through the same questioning. I had those fears. I saw this, I kept seeing the Christ figure on his boat, and I was like, and that was what was coming up for me. It felt like I had to do this film, and I was resisting it because I was terrified in a way, because I know what the programming is, I know what the fear is, I know what Christians believe, and I know those fears intimately. So it was, but it was an invitation to go beyond those fears and go deeper into the question, and go deeper into my own fears and into my own limitations, and transcend those fears. So that's what it was for me. This was a real journey. Say a spiritual journey for me. It was wonderful.
Every image, when I see it there on screen while you're talking, we're playing some clips of it, just conjures up all these archetypes. And when you're showing Shiva or other archetypes, we see the images of women, in the walls. It's all right there. But I'm somewhat, from research and study, more conscious than a lot of average people. I can see how someone who's very unconscious, this is almost like a big bucket of ice water being thrown on them to awaken them. And so I can see they've been so programmed by the globalists that are aware of what they're doing, that when you release something so in your face, just congratulations, you've got people thinking.
Yeah, well, like I said, it was a real spiritual journey for me, but I'm glad it's helping people to have a discussion about it. I think it's important. We have so many walls between different ideological systems, and I'm hoping this just kind of breaks down some of those walls. And I guess that would be the best outcome. But I can't control how people interpret it. It's not really my business what they interpret out of it, obviously. So I'm just doing what I can.
How long did it take you to put this together?
It took me about 5 years and all. It took 4 years to, I'd say, full time. So from 2008 to now, I've been working on it full time. But before that, I was working on it part time for maybe 3 years. So, like cobbled together, it would maybe make another year. So 5 years in all about. And I've had people helping me since 2008. I've hired, people off and on a kind of contractual basis, mostly friends. And some of them, sometimes they'd work freelance from home. Sometimes they'd actually, the last year I've had a guy coming in, a good friend of mine coming in 3 days a week, helping me out with the special effects, the snow, the smoke, the water, all these things. But I did most of the animation, actually did all the animation of the characters and did all the modeling as well, and the rigging and the lighting. But all the special effects were done by, well, not all, but most of the special effects were done, which is, for people who don't know what that means exactly, it's like I said, it's the snow, it's the water, the fire, the smoke. All these things were done mostly by freelance artists. I've had a couple of matte painters, which is the backdrops, the skies and that kind of thing, help me out as well. And I've also hired a couple dancers. I had one girl, because I went into a motion capture studio for some of the animation, like half of the animation is motion capture, like we've seen, I'm sure a lot of the viewers have seen on Gollum. So a lot of the motion capture was done, a lot of the animation was done through motion capture, and the motion capture was done at a dance studio, actually a dance faculty at a university here in Montreal. And I hired one tap dancer and one kind of modern breakdance dancer to do the little American Indian dancer. So that's about the process, yeah.
Louis Lefebvre is our guest. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen in modern times such a labor of love with this many graphics, this much energy and time put into something. Because obviously the time to render, the time to draw it, the time to put it together, for those that don't know, I mean, even for a big company, this would be a major undertaking. So I can, I think that you're saying you were already awake, but you really awoken, to what was happening in the world, and that this is, kind of your masterwork, or something that, symbolizes the beginning of what will become your masterwork.
Who knows? I don't know where it's going to go, but yeah, basically, I was. I think I felt a lot of. I think because it was the Jesus, or well, it's not the Jesus, it's like Christ consciousness as I see it. But I mean, if you want to see it as Jesus, that's wonderful as well. I mean, I think that's, like you said, it's open to interpretation. But because it was that character, I felt obviously a lot of, I put a lot of pressure on myself, because I felt like I didn't want to do it disrespect. I have a tremendous amount of respect for the teaching of Jesus Christ. So I felt I just have to do it, some justice. I can't just be disrespectful with it. But, unfortunately for some people, it still has failed, and it's... I
wouldn't let that distract you. I mean, you're exposing evil here. You're getting people to think, waking them up out of their trance. I love how you have Osama bin Laden in the CIA a commando outfit. I mean, obviously, from what I've gotten from these views, you're obviously questioning the official narrative of 9/11.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, when I started this piece, it wasn't really, I didn't know much about that. Like I said, it started about 2005. It was starting to come together in my head. And at that time, I didn't know anything about 9/11, like as far as a conspiracy. I just knew it as a time of sadness, obviously, and a marking point in our timeline. Obviously, what I see it as now, it's obvious to me now, just looking at it, like the way it falls. Plus, I have an engineering background. I studied in engineering, so, but it doesn't make me an expert. But still, when I look at those two buildings falling today, it's just like, oh my God, how did I ever think it was not a controlled demolition? And but what I see it now as, with my research in symbolism, which I didn't know much about when I started the film, I can now see that it's a ritual, as it's a ritual about, it's kind of a way to say, look, this is what's going to happen to your economy, because those two towers are a symbol of the economy. And when they crumbled, it was like, we will implode your economy. And you watch as you watch your economy crumble. So that's what it means.
Exactly. As I've studied the Illuminati, who really are the opposite of what they say, they seek to create darkness, but then call themselves illuminated, because they're going to be illuminated, but you're going to be in darkness. That right. Well, it's basic magic. They have to engage in the lesser magic of telling you what they're going to do up front. And so the mojo is 1 trillion times more powerful when they actually do it. So they have to almost count coup before they do it. That's why on Fox TV, they had the government hijack a jet by remote control to fly in the World Trade Center. They make NORAD stand down because of a drill. They say hijackers are on board, but it's really remote control because they want to attack Afghanistan and take American liberties. That aired 6 months before. And then it turned out hundreds of publications and outfits did the same thing, and they were all literally beating the drum, getting everyone ready to then do this. And then Warren Buffett had over 100 top CEOs flown that morning to already meet with him in a hangar at Moffett or Offutt Air Force Base. I mean, all of this, and then the CIA drills, and then the heads of Al-Qaeda meeting at the Pentagon secretly, and the bin Ladens being flown out. It's important to them at multi-layers to let those of us that are conscious and awake but not serving them, because there's people that are conscious but they serve the dark side. They're only partially conscious, or they know what a fool's errand that is, because they love death and destruction. But they need to reveal it before they do it. And again, even if you don't believe in that stuff, viewers, this is what they believe.